Hello students, today we are going to discuss the air pollution and its classification as well as its effect and method of controlling air pollution. Now, what is air pollution? Air pollution is defined as the excessive concentration of foreign matters in the air which adversely affects the well-being of individual or causes damage to the property. Okay. Now, it also affects plants, animals and building. That will be the definition of air pollution. Okay. Now, sources of air pollution. There are two sources of air pollution, that is the natural sources and man-made sources. Okay, natural sources is created by the environment and man-made sources is created by the human being itself. Okay. Now, what are the natural sources? Natural sources are products from atmospheric reaction like oxidation, combination, photochemical reaction. Similarly, aerosols, particulates that are finely divided solid or liquid particles of microscopic size held suspended and dispersed in atmosphere which will cause visibility reduction, corrosion, etc. Now the examples of aerosols are dust, smoke, fog, that is the combination of smoke and fog will be the smoke, and haze, fumes, etc. Now the next one is the microorganism. Another one is pollens. Pollens is generally present in the China rose in the form of yellow seeds like structure. Okay. Now small grains from anthers of flower which may cause allergic reaction, that is known as pollens. Okay. Now the next one is the radioactive minerals, volcanic ash and gases which are the sources of air pollution naturally. Okay. Now the man-made sources are combustion of fuels, that is carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, etc. From industry, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, ammonia, carbon monoxide, etc. From thermal power plants, sulfur dioxide. From automobile agricultural activities as well as from the nuclear power plants. We will create the air pollution by this means, that is the combustion of fuel by industries, by thermal power plants, by automobiles and by nuclear power plants. Okay. Now the classification of air pollutants. Generally the air pollutant is classified into two types, the primary air pollutant and the secondary air pollutant. Now what are primary air pollutant? Primary air pollutants are those which are emitted directly from the identifiable sources like dust, aerosols, pollens, sulfur compounds, nitrogen compounds, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, lead, hydrocarbon, radioactive materials, etc. So those air pollutants which are emitted directly from the identifiable sources and they will do the air pollution directly, they are known as primary air pollutants. Okay. Now what are secondary air pollutants? Secondary air pollutants are those which are formed in the atmosphere as a result of interaction between two or more primary air pollutant. Okay. Now we will see how the secondary air pollutant will produce. Suppose that in the atmosphere there will be water particle, that is H2O, and there will be SO3 also present in the atmosphere. Now what will they form? They will generally form H2SO4, which is a very strong acid and it is known as sulfuric acid. So the example of secondary air pollutants are sulfuric acids, ozone, formaldehyde, etc. Okay. Now we will see the compound and its effect. Okay, the first one is the SO2, which is one of the most important air pollutant that is present in our environment and it is present in large amount. Okay, this is one of the most important air pollutant. Now most important air pollutant and exist wherever fossil fuels are burnt. Now what will be its effect? It will cause respiratory problem like bronchitis, asthma attack, etc. Now the next compound is the carbon monoxide. Again it will be coming from the automobile exhaust and it will cause asphyxia, it means the loss of consciousness. Now the next one is the hydrocarbon. Now hydrocarbon is again released from the automobile exhaust and they will do also the asphyxia problem. Now the next one is lead. lead is also released from the automobile exhaust, and it will cause irritation of mucous membrane of nose, throats and lungs. Now the next compound will be the oxides of nitrogen. It is the second most abundant air pollutant after SO2, and it will cause asthma, eye and nasal irritation. That is the compound and its effect. More compounds are pollens. Pollens is also causing asthma. Now the next one is the radioactive radiation. It will cause cancer, shortening of lifespan as well as the genetic defect. That will be the all the compound and its effect, which will be important from the gate point of view. Clear to all? Now we will see the effect on physical features. First one is the effect on visibility, next one is effect on atmospheric constituent, another effect is the greenhouse effect, next one is the ozone layer depletion, last second one be the acid rain, and the last one is the global warming. Now we will see one by one each and every effect in detail, starting with the effect on visibility. Now fog and photochemical smog reduces the visibility considerably. Okay, now if fog and photochemical smog will be present, then it will reduce the visibility considerably. Okay, now the next one is the effect on atmospheric constituent. Carbon dioxide is considered as a factor responsible for the rise in the ambient temperature. Nowadays, carbon dioxide emission is increasing day by day, due to which the temperature of the earth will increase to a larger extent from the previous condition. So if we continuously emit carbon dioxide, then there will be the increase in temperature of the earth. Okay, now next one is the greenhouse effect. Gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, ozone and chemicals like chlorofluorocarbon are responsible for greenhouse effect. Now carbon dioxide is the chief gas responsible for the greenhouse effect. Okay, now due to the presence of large amount of carbon dioxide, the increase in temperature of the earth taking place, now it causes appreciable rise in the temperature. If the concentration of CO2 is increasing in the atmosphere, then the temperature of the earth is also increasing. Clear? Now the next one will be the ozone layer depletion. Now ozone layer act as an umbrella against the harmful ultraviolet radiation reaching the earth. When chemical pollution such as chlorofluorocarbon emitted from refrigeration and other industrial operators, nitrous oxide pollute the atmosphere, and some of the ozone is broken down, and it results in a decrease of ozone concentration in the atmosphere. In consequence, more ultraviolet radiation reaches the earth. Now we all know that above the atmosphere there will be a layer of ozone which will protect us from the harmful ultraviolet radiation of the sun. Now, due to the continuous emission of chlorofluorocarbon from the refrigerators, from the ACs, what will happen? The ozone layer depletion will be taking place. Now, due to this ozone layer depletion, the harmful ultraviolet rays directly reaches to the earth's surface, and it will create skin cancer problem also. Okay. Now the effects of ozone layer depletion: damage in immune system, disturbance in ecosystem, effect on crop yield, increase of skin cancer and eye ailments. Okay. Now the next one is the shorter life of paints and plastic. Now for protecting the ozone layer, we have to reduce or restrict the use of chlorofluorocarbon. Okay. Now if we restrict the emission of chlorofluorocarbon, then ozone layer will be protected and its depletion will again restricted. Clear to all? Now the next effect is the acid rain. Now we had seen that when atmospheric water combines with SO3, it will form H2SO4. Now when the rain will come and when it will mix with SO3, then it will be coming like H2SO4 and it will create the acid rain. And one of the best example of acid rain is the Taj Mahal. Okay. Now when H2O or the rainwater mixed with the NO2 compound which is present in the atmosphere, what it will produce? It will produce HNO3. Okay, which is the nitric acid. It will again create acid rain. So the rainwater is slightly acidic. The acidity level increases with SO2, NO2, etc. Now acidity in rainwater is caused due to the formation of secondary pollutant. We had seen here The secondary pollutants are H2SO4, HNO3, etc., such as sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid due to the reaction of water vapors with this gas. We had seen the reaction of water vapor with this gas, that SO2 will be converted into SO3, and when SO3 reacts with the water vapor it will form H2SO4. When NO2 directly reacts with the water vapor it will form HNO3. Now it has been specified that when the pH of the rainwater is less than or equals to 5, the rain is termed as acid rain. When the pH is less than 5, we termed it as acid rain. Now, two-thirds of acid rain is due to SO2, which is produced mainly by the burning of coal and oil in the industries. Okay. Now, the SO2 pollutant leads to the formation of H2SO4 acidity we had seen here. Okay. Now, another primary pollutant responsible for one-third of acid rain is due to NO2, which is produced mainly by the automobile emission. Now, we had seen the reaction here. Now, NO2 pollutant leads to the HNO3 acidity, which will be created here. Okay. Now, acidic rain damage forest, crops, building, monuments, etc. Now, that will be the effect of acid rain as well as the effect of air pollutant on the structures. Now, next one will be the global warming. Now, it is considered to be the outcome of air pollution caused by the man-made sources. Now, global warming may lead to the burning of crops and may also cause forest fire. Now, this global warming generally takes place due to greenhouse gases. With the increase in the greenhouse gases, the temperature of the earth increases. Now, due to the increase of temperature of the earth, what will happen? Burning of crops and burning of forest also takes place. Okay, that is the effect of air pollution on structures, on forest, on crops, etc. Clear to all? Now we can move to the next method, that is the method of controlling air pollution. Now we will control the air pollution by zoning method, by scrubbers or wet collectors, and by electrostatic precipitator. Now in zoning method we will make the zone such as residential zone as well as the industrial zone. Okay. Now in residential zone we don't allow any industry to be come in the residential zone. That's why the residential zone will be restricted or will be protected from the industrial waste or industrial air pollution. Okay. Now the industrial zone is surrounded by plants or trees throughout. Why we need to provide here the trees or plant? Because the pollution created by the industry will be compensated by these plants and trees. Now due to these plant and trees the air pollution will be reduced considerably, and due to the zoning method we will restrict the air pollution to a lower side. Clear to all? Now the next method is the electrostatic precipitators. Now at the head of the chimney we generally provide a electrostatic precipitator where a negative charge plate will be held here and the positive charge plate will be held here. Now when the harmful gases will be releasing into the atmosphere, it will contain some particles in it. Now that particle will be attracted towards the negative and the positive plate, and only the waste gases without any smoke particle will be liberated into the atmosphere. So in the atmosphere there will be very small amount of solid particle present. That's why by the use of electrostatic precipitator we had reduced the air pollution to a great extent. Clear to all? Now the next method is the scrubber or wet scrubber. At the head of the chimney we generally provide a wet scrubber. Here we generally provide a wet scrubber which is generally kept wet by the water. Now what will happen? When the harmful gas is liberated from the chimney head, all the solid particle will retain out on this wet scrubber and only the gases will be going out into the atmosphere. When this scrubber is full of impurities, then we remove that scrubber and we will do the cleaning of that scrubber and again put it into the head of the chimney for the further removal of solid particle. Now that is all about the controlling of air pollution methods. Okay, thank you very much students.